Hey, what's up guys? I'm Bradu, and today I'm going to talk about my process when I draw a sketch card. Um, it's always pretty similar no matter what kind of a card I'm doing, like if it's for a set or a personal sketch card, or if I'm doing Copic markers, which is the norm, or something else. The process usually is the same. I start by looking up source photos and cropping them to the exact size of the sketch card and printing them out. I do it kind of like this. I'll print up a whole sheet with 9 on there. So I do them in batches, kind of like that. That works especially well when I'm doing a set where it's usually 10 or 20 sketch cards at once. So I usually start with a blank. This one's from Grimm. I haven't drawn on it yet. I will at some point. And the first stage is just laying in a light pencil outline. The one I'm going to show you is legendary goon Dave the Hammer Schultz, which is really hard to see because it's really light. And I drew that a while ago, and at some point I will go in and finish it, but I use the smallest lead I can find. My pencil's pretty fancy. Not really. 0.3 millimeter lead is what I use. Those are kind of hard to find. I was using 0.5 for a while, but the smaller the better as far as I'm concerned. And I go about it all wrong, and I realize that. Like if you do a portrait class or anything like that, they'll tell you when you're drawing a portrait you want to work from the eyes or the nose out. And because I'm working in such a particularly defined space, I tend to work from the borders in. I'll go around the edges and put little marks where the image touches the edge, like where the neck hits the bottom or where background things are, and I'll just kind of keep working my way in. And I'll do usually a bunch of pencil ones at once, just because I can kind of get into a rhythm like that. This is, again, like if I'm talking about doing a set, I'll do batches like that. And especially the pencil stage, I always sleep on it before I continue. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's the most important step. If you're doing a portrait, it doesn't matter what colors you use or things like that. What really matters is, can you make the person you're drawing look like them? If it doesn't look like them, your artwork is shot from the get-go. So getting that pencil stage accurate, just getting the shapes in the right and the shadows in the right places is the most important thing. That's my advice to you budding artists out there. So I always sleep on it, look the next day, and a lot of times you'll see something like, oh man, that doesn't look right. I drew this one eye way too big and I didn't notice it yesterday. But today I do. Or another trick is look in the mirror. And I also often ask my wife or somebody else, like, hey, does this look accurate to you? And she's really good about giving feedback like that. She knows that I'm actually looking for feedback and not just, oh, it looks great, So anyway, that's kind of the pencil stage. That usually takes me a half hour, I guess I would say on average. I'm pretty nitpicky. And like I said, then I'll go back the next day and make some changes sometimes. And when I'm ready to continue, the next stage is inking I usually use this Copic multi-liner 0.03. That is the finest tip I have found. Even when I sometimes use the micron. This is a 0.05. Even that jump up from 0.03 to 0.05 seems to be huge. And I'm not a big fan of outlining on a drawing. I don't do comic style work, so I tend to think of myself as more of a realist, and so outlines tend to flatten the image. So I try to just use the bare minimum amount of lines, I guess is what I'd say. I don't want them to be too prominent. But it is kind of, I'd like to do it without doing any ink outline at all. But what I found, especially when working with markers, is the ink outline keeps the markers from bleeding outside the line. So it's helpful for that reason. So anyway, I'll show you one of those. This is from the top set that I'm working on, Museum Collection. Mike Musina. Just a little work in progress. Can you see it? Mike Musina, right there. And that stage, again, probably a half hour, sometimes a little longer, sometimes quicker actually, because there I don't need to, like with the pencil drawing, I got to make sure it's accurate. If I'm doing the inking, like it should already, the lines are there and I'm just tracing them, so sometimes it takes too long. Hey, don't get carried away. I'm not tracing the image, I'm tracing over my own pencil line. Been called a tracer before, so I want to stay away from that. Be real clear on that. So then I go in with the markers. I use Copic markers, which are ridiculously expensive. They look like this. They're about $5 a marker online. That's the cheapest you're going to find them. But you can get refills. Those are about the same price. And then you refill, you know, you can get, I don't know how many, you can refill it a bunch on one refill. So it's a good investment if you're going to use them a lot, to go ahead and go with the markers. The way I got into markers was really like when I first started doing set work. I looked up what was online, and the art that I liked best for sketch cards that I saw other artists doing was markers. And I had never drawn with markers. I was drawing mostly with pastel, which for sketch cards is not good. You can't put a pack inserted sketch card in pastel. You open up the pack and there's little chalk bits everywhere. And I was like, well, I got to come up with a new plan. So actually the first Copic marker sketches I ever did I did a couple before I started in with the Topps UFC, but that was the first I had used them. So I just kind of jumped in. So the marker stage takes me anywhere from at least an hour to sometimes 2. So my total time spent on each card is usually about 2 hours. Sometimes a little less if I'm doing black and white, and sometimes more if I'm struggling or if it's a particularly complex image. Here's a finished marker one. Walking Dead is back on tonight, so I thought this would be a good one to show. Michonne. This is my last artist proof from Series 3, Walking Dead by Cryptozoic. So, oh, what else we got? Oh yeah, I showed you like kind of my print. I carry a sketchbook around with all of these sheets that I'm using. This is my sketchbook. I got my pencil in here. I use a gum eraser, or kneaded eraser. I just stick it on there and carry it around like this usually. Flip it open. I've got these little slots here that I keep the sketch cards that I'm working on. So I've always got, like, if I carry this around, I'm ready to go, at least with the pencil stage. So that's, I want to say that's pretty much it for my process. If I think of anything else, I'll shoot a second video or throw it in at the end of this. Because I was also going to give a quick update on my progress on 28 days later. Yesterday, I already shot a video for yesterday. I think I had done 3 sketch cards at that point, and then after I shot the video, I didn't do any more sketch cards, but I did some work on a commission for this gal. Ronda Rousey, UFC champ. I usually just do markers on sketch cards, but I'm starting to find that I'm getting so used to working with markers, even when somebody wants a larger commission, I go markers if I think it'll fit the image well. So this is not done, but got a couple hours in on that. And what else? Oh, this morning I already did my sketch card for today. It's February 8th. And did some more drawing on that Rhonda that I just showed. Last night, this was kind of funny. I had a frustrating day yesterday. I already had kind of mentioned some of my frustration in that video. Then I had a weird miscommunication with the art director or whatever you would call him on one of the sets I'm working on. And I got really frustrated right away, and it turned out fine. It was just a miscommunication, but it put me in a foul mood for a little while. And things turned around though. Then I sold a couple things. This was actually kind of funny. I was drawing, but I got my computer open. I get the little bleep. You got a Facebook message, and this guy is gonna get a sketch card from me. And then he started asking about a different one. He's like, "Oh, I might want to do a commission of a larger piece. What are your prices?" And so I stopped drawing. I reach over and type up because I got the computer in front of me, but in front of my drawing table. So I just typed up my prices real quick, and then he sends back a message like, "Payment sent," and I'm like, "Wait, like I can't even. We haven't even discussed any details yet." So I didn't want to talk him out of it. That's great. I just got a sale, but I was like, I just got to tell you, man, I'm busy this month. I will hope to get to it soon, but I can't really promise that I'll have it done right away. So I felt kind of bad about that, but at the same time, it was kind of funny. So that was, and it cheered me up a little, I guess. Hey, that was better. So this morning I did a good 3 hours probably of drawing so far, and I was listening to the Artcasters weekly hangout. I think that's what they called it, with a lot of those guys from the Artcasters group. Those are kind of fun. You get a lot of different perspectives from different artists, different topics, anything they come up with. And I'd like to jump in on, they're not doing those like that anymore, but I'd like to jump in on that type of thing where I can chit chat with other artists, because it gets kind of lonely here all by myself doing these daily vids. I guess I'm doing daily. Man, I'm on day 8. I didn't think I'd have this many videos total, but let's call it good. That's my sketch card process, and I do plan on doing a video of me actually drawing or showing my workspace and that type of thing, but not yet. Alright, see you guys next time.